Welcome back to Shenington for part 2 of our UK Kart Series programme, featuring the remaining 3 finals still to come. If you've ever wondered where all those Formula 1 drivers start racing, this is karting in our 21st year of covering the sport. Here at Shenington, it's been around since the dawn of karting in the UK, and Ayrton Senna actually raced here, Jake.
Indeed he did. It wasn't just Senna. Nigel Mansell, Jenson Button, Lewis, Lando, George, they all raced here over the years. Nikita Roberts and Rocco Garrity are on the front row of the Honda Cadet grid today, though. Aaron Berridge and Lorenzo Martin, then Charlie White and Archie Rutter, Hendrix Bennett, Harvey Turner, Ben Boers, and Rowan Marshall. It's going to be a very competitive top 10. Honda Cadet always is. And don't forget, this category is the only category of this event where it's going to be a standing start on the grid rather than a rolling start. So it's a very different skill for these young drivers to be able to work with, and it takes a very different mindset. Tristan Gilfillan is going to be alongside Austin Dowell on the 6th row of the grid. Then Mia Duffel, Bradley Sutton, Alistair Saunders, Seth Wright, and then we'll have Henry Coburn and Kevin Bogarski. Sadly, Hallie Findlater is not going to be able to take the start of this one, and though should be starting from P19, hopefully at the next event we'll see Hallie back on the grid. So 18 drivers ready for the gung-ho into the first corner, and then they will charge their way through Cafe. With it being standing start, expect the unexpected. Could be an interesting start right from the get-go. We get the signal for the lights to go, and then once they are out, we shall be racing in Honda Cadet 200s. Drivers rise, let's race at Shenington, and it's a perfect start. The teeth are bearing for the chop into the first corner for Nikita Roberts, and it is going to be a strong lead as the front fairing gives us a very cheeky smile on the way through. Rocco Garrity and Lorenzo Martin giving good chase. Aaron Berridge just trying to shake off the attentions of Archie Rutter and Charlie White, but Nikita Roberts is having a fantastic start at the front end of the field, and Rocco Garrity giving chase already.
Yeah, Nikita Roberts, just yet another girl in the long line of girls in the last 10 years that we've been filming karting, particularly in the last 10 years, although we've been filming it for 21 years. Just another in the long line, following in the steps of Abby Pulling.
And certainly one of the best young females in Honda Cadet of late. You've only got to look back recently to the exploits of Bella Fairclough, who went off to Italy recently for the FIA Girls on Track. So clearly British Honda Cadet Racing really does give these racers magnificent talent to go for. Martin's got a good run on the inside though, not enough to get through, as actually that allows Aaron Berridge to come up the inside line. The Mansfield youngster getting into second position, so now he's going to be leading the cavalry after Nikita Roberts. But Nikita definitely has the balance at the moment. Here's Ben Boers running in the mid-pack, trying to work his way back towards the top 6, and Rowan Marshall's going to be battling away with him as he tries to break into the top 10 for the first time. Side by side for third position, that's Geraghty and Aaron Berridge. The two of them having a very big tussle as they work their way onto the back straight. Nikita Roberts, though, is going to have more pressure from Aaron Berridge as they come towards it. So Berridge having got back into second place. Lorenzo Martin falling into the clutches, diving up the inside. Geraghty trying his best, but Charlie White almost had him there through Wilkins. And as they come across the line one more time, it's Roberts from Berridge. And Berridge has just banged in the fastest lap of the race in order to get that gap back down to Nikita Roberts. So that's going to get interesting between those two. Then Martin, Geraghty, White, Bennett, Rutter, Turner and Ben Boers. So let's see if this is going to be a good enough run for Aaron Berridge. See, he's being quite wise here. He's thinking about the long game rather than just going for the move on Nikita Roberts. He's trying to break away from the third position battle. He wants that gap to be massive, then he can make his bid.
Yeah, it's early in the race yet. He can afford to push her along and create a bigger gap than he's got at the moment, although I think that's a big enough gap to go for the lead. If he gets the chance, he'll go for it.
So now we've got this great tussle for third position opening up. That's a move from Charlie White. He again tries on Rocco Geraghty, and again Rocco is just so strong through that hairpin. He's not going to concede anything he doesn't have to. Nikita Roberts now bangs in the fastest lap of the race, but only by 1,000th of a second, as the young lady from Poole in Dorset, very nearly Jenson Button part of the world, continuing on as they battle on at the front end of the wheel. Of course, Jenson Button is a Froome man, so we're not that far away from Poole. On the inside, that is Rocco Geraghty getting his run on Lorenzo Martin, but on the exit, runs a little bit deep. That's enough of a gap for Martin to put it back on the inside in the Bruno Ferrari chicane. Well, he tried his best, but unfortunately, you've got to work a little bit harder to catch up Lorenzo Martin.
Fantastic battle though, great shots from the drone as usual, particularly here at Shenington where we fly in conjunction with the local gliding club next door. We couldn't fly here without their cooperation.
So Hendrix Bennett has managed to work his way forward. That's now 5th position for Bennett ahead of Charlie White. And then Archie Rutter is looking fairly strong there in 7th position. Again, Roberts and Berridge are just working themselves further away from the field. But Rocco Geraghty, the young lad from Chesterfield, no unlucky 13s for him. He knows perfectly well which number he wants, and he's right over the sharp end. Ben Boers is slowly working his way forward, seems to have managed to get the move there on Harvey Turner. But Aaron Berridge is side by side with Nikita Roberts and surely through, yes indeed. So Aaron Berridge has built up enough of a gap to go for it, has been comfortable enough and confident enough to make that stick, so he takes the lead. Yeah,
Ben Boers on the forecart there. It's quite easy to pick from the drone. Again, white helmet, and he's in 8th place.
Ooh.
Mia Duffel there on screen, she's running in 14th. Young lady from Colville in Leicestershire.
But Lorenzo Martin under massive pressure is now working his way back into 4th position. Again comes Rocco Geraghty. Hendrix Bennett thought he had a move there on the inside line. Lorenzo Martin had to come back to thwart it. Now here's the battle for 8th as Turner goes for the inside for Ben Boers. No, you don't, says Ben. I'm going to hold this together. Henry Coburn has now got himself into the middle of all of that with Rowan Marshall and Tristan Gilfillan to battle with. Look at that squabble for 3rd place. Now we're going to get 2 on 1, I think. Lorenzo Martin can't hold off Geraghty and Bennett for much longer, and they both indeed get the move, although Martin is already going to try and step back on the inside of Rocco Geraghty. It's Hendrix Bennett that has worked himself up into 3rd place now.
Fantastic battling all the way through the field, but the 2 leaders are gone, Jake. 2 leaders are gone, but Nikita Roberts, look at this. It's a great performance from young Nikita Roberts. Aaron Berridge looks a little bit older to me, but she is keeping him very, very honest.
And this is exactly what she needs to do. She's not really in a position to squabble with him, because then they're going to get eaten up by the battle behind. So just sit behind, let Aaron Berridge do all the work, take a little bit of pressure off tyres, take a bit of pressure off brakes and engine, just follow in pursuit of Aaron Berridge. It's a long way still to go, 6.5 on the clock with a little bit of change. So there's plenty of opportunities. Right, the 8th place battle is turning into a bit of a dogfight now. Very fitting that we're on Shenington Airfield. Ben Boers, Harvey Turner, then Marshall, Coburn, Gilfillan and Austin Dowell. And they're not going to be too far away from Mia Duffel to catch up to either. So that could end up being a proper squabble. And if she picks her moments well, she could almost join Nikita Roberts firmly in the top 10. Alistair Saunders still having a decent run with Bradley Sutton and Kevin Bogarski. Up the inside, good defensive tactics needed there from the 12 of Charlie White, as now he heads into third position. Hendricks Bennett is trying his best to have another go, so too is Lorenzo Martin. Tries a slingshot on the inside, but Hendricks Bennett's not going to give him the opportunity, so they swing their way through Cafe Corner. That's Turner now up into 8th position ahead of Ben Boers, by the way. Coburn, Marshall, Gilfillan and Dowell still raging in behind, and we're going to go 3 wide, are we, into the hairpin? Well, that was very nicely placed by Rocco Geraghty.
Contact.
Yeah, was a little bit of contact, wasn't there?
That slowed them both down. Their momentum has taken them out of this battle now. We had a battle with 5 in it, and then another battle with 5 or 6, and then another battle with 5 or 6. So there's battles all over the track where you look at the moment, and that's the great thing about karting. Wherever you are, you always have somebody to play with generally.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Archie Rutter and Rocco Geraghty. They lose the ground then to these 3. Here comes Aaron Berridge and Nikita Roberts over the line. Nothing between them in terms of lap time pace. Charlie White, Hendricks Bennett and Lorenzo Martin, then Rutter and Geraghty. And then not that much between Turner, Boers, Coburn, Marshall, Gilfillan and Dowell. 6 of them running around in unison. Mia Duffel just trying to stay with them, sets her own personal best in order to do so. Now, what is going to be the form book for 6th position? I think Geraghty's had enough of sitting behind Archie Rutter, and he's gone for it, but on the exit, Rutter has a good opportunity. He's trying to tap his helmet, Rocco. Come on, stop overtaking me. Are you kidding? We're racing drivers. This is what we do.
You absolutely see that all the time. Once they overtake, get the position, then try and get the driver behind to put them along.
See, Rocco's getting frustrated now with Archie Rutter. He doesn't want to be racing him. He wants to be racing the 5 drivers in front of him. And if they can work together, they'll get that gap down. But Archie Rutter has read a very different script to Rocco Geraghty. He wants to be ahead of him, and fair play. Lorenzo Martin trying to come up the inside of Hendricks Bennett through Cafe, as meanwhile Rowan Marshall has a go at Henry Coburn. But back to the front, Aaron Berridge still holds it from Nikita Roberts, but Roberts has got a very strong run out of Cafe Corner. They come up to the hairpin. No change, but she certainly looks poised for an opportunity.
She is impressing me, Jake. I've never seen her before, never heard of Nikita Roberts before this weekend, but she is clearly a talent for the future. Very, very quick indeed, because we know Aaron Berridge is very quick, and she is keeping him very honest. Look at this.
There must be something in the water down in that part of the world, isn't there? Because there's a bit of a reputation for providing incredible racing drivers.
Alongside nearly. Now, you might think she's tiny. She must have an advantage over Aaron Berridge, but don't forget, the karts have got away the same at the end of the race.
Well, we keep on having that never-ending debate, don't we? When are we going to see another Formula One driver of a female persuasion? The last one, by the way, was Lella Lombardi, all the way back in 1976. So we've got to get a new one in the mix soon. Up the inside, Hendricks Bennett slices in on Charlie White. That puts him into 3rd position. So continuing on this fantastic battle for the top 3. But yeah, Nikita Roberts battling Aaron Berridge for the victory in this one. Certainly looking like she could be a candidate.
Yeah. We've got Jamie Chadwick doing very well, Jake, and Abby Pulling, we know obviously from our coverage of the British Championships back in the day. Abby was a 2-time British champion in junior TKM, and she's doing fantastic this year. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's a very good point you made there, because Abby Pulling, the first woman ever to win in British F4, so
exactly.
fantastic stuff.
The
other week we also saw Jamie Chadwick pick up the first female win in the Indy Next Series for 15 years. Nikita Roberts looking like she could be next. Aaron Berridge versus Nikita Roberts for the lead of this one, and then the 3-way grudge match that just will not cease. Lorenzo Martin, Hendricks Bennett, Charlie White, none of them prepared to yield, all of them committed 100%. All of them just trying to bide the time. Hendricks Bennett looked like he got an opportunity there through the Bruno Ferrara chicane. Was he able to get in front? No, he had to bail out of it, so it's still Lorenzo Martin in P3 from Bennett and Charlie White. But this is so smart from Nikita Roberts, just letting Aaron Berridge do all the hard work. And she's just sitting, biding her time, just waiting, not overworking the car, giving the engine a little bit of respite. Excellent stuff again for 3rd, as still they jockey for position. Bennett in front of Martin and White. And here comes Berridge. Roberts now trying a different tack, going to pull level. Now watch for the switcheroo.
Yeah,
she's going to come from the outside.
Well, I think she was looking to go wide out and narrow coming back, but she's not quite been able to make that work. But this is a very impressive performance by these two. I'm hoping to catch up with both of these drivers for an interview at the next round. I'm not sure. This is Nikita's first appearance in the championship this year. I hope she'll be there at the next round because we hope to interview her there.
Well, this is the penultimate lap because we're about to run out of time as they come across the line. Or are we? Because this is going to be a nail-biting run to the line to see if we get the last lap board or not. And we just will. So we're going into the last lap. And that is pretty tricky. If they had gone through a second earlier, then Nikita Roberts would have had yet another lap to go for the move on Berridge. As it stands, we're on the last lap, so it really is now or never. The question is really going to be where? Where does she go for the move? Right, far side. Berridge tightens it up. Terrific battle for third. Martin shutting the door firmly in Charlie White's face. Hendricks Bennett trying to come for it as well. So we're going to get a battle for the victory and a battle for third place. Roberts wide and then tucks back in for the Bruno Ferrari chicane, and he's going to get level, surely. Just an opportunity, knocking in, trying to have the look on the inside line for Hanger. Has to wait a moment. Surely this could be an opportunity to the inside line. It's not quite going to happen, but you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to see Nikita Roberts going for the victory in future events. It will be Aaron Berridge that takes it this time, but Nikita Roberts is on the rise, and Lorenzo Martin just hangs on after a terrific race with Hendricks Bennett and Charlie White. Excellent stuff between those three. And in the absolute cavalry further back, it's Harvey Turner that pops up in front of Coburn and Marshall, with Buzz, Gilfillan, Austin Dowell and Mia Duffel heading home Saunders and Sutton. Excellent racing all the way through. There's Kevin Bogarski ahead of Seth Wright. So Aaron Berridge just a tenth of a second ahead of Nikita Roberts. That battle could go on for the rest of the season. Lorenzo Martin holds off Hendricks Bennett and Charlie White, with Rocco Geraghty managing to overcome Archie Rutter in their battle, with Harvey Turner in P8 in front of Henry Coburn and Rowan Marshall. In the point standings, Aaron Berridge has the advantage over Henry Coburn. Lorenzo Martin is not that far away, with Rowan Marshall, Rocco Geraghty and Archie Rutter trying to battle for the rest of the spoils. It's going to be a fabulous continuation in Honda Cadet 200. Our next race will give you two grids for the price of one. The R200s will be the first grid. That's Ayrton Ray and Dylan Suresh on the front row. Thomas Harper and Archie Ray Watson on the second, from Lewis Dean and Ferenc Havasi. Matthew Plant, Rebecca Restel and Thomas Stevens rounding out the field. Behind the R200s, we have the Tyro Minis, and it's Hayden Adams and Max Flatley, Issy Wykes and Jack Griggs, then Samuel Sharp, Evan Withington and Chris Mayo. So with two races in one, we're going to have a very tough race battle ahead of us here at Shenington. And we are under starters orders, and off we go into the first corner. Ayrton Rai hoping to hold off from Dylan Suresh, but as they work their way through, it's going to be a very tough race battle. Hayden Adams holding the lead, by the way, in Tyro Mini. So as they work their way through Cafe and onto the main straight, up towards Stratford Hairpin, Archie Ray Watson trying to break into the leading battle. He's currently P3, so a very good start behind Dylan Suresh, the young man from Hornchurch. But it is Ayrton Rai that holds the advantage at the moment as they work their way through the Bruno Ferrari chicane for the first time. A couple of run wides there, but Ferenc Havasi, fairly sure that will be Hungarian in origin, with a name such as Ferenc. Has had plenty of nomenclatures in various different sports in Hungary. Thomas Harper, the young lad from Derby, continuing to work his magic as well. Top 5 for him at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Thomas, if he gets the right result in this, could be the championship leader at the end of this round as they go through the line. They're the Honda R200s. Here come the Tyro Minis. Two classes on track at the same time as we get a quick look at Lewis Dean, the workshop man. I spent a year in workshop one week, Jake.
Just a year? Only a year?
Yeah, wasn't the best experience.
Well, fortunately, some good things do come out of workshop, as we've finally started to realise. Up to P4 comes Thomas Harper, so he's already picking them off one by one. That's a move on Ferenc Havasi. Meanwhile, Hayden Adams continuing in the lead of Tyro Mini. Issy Wykes, second position ahead of Max Flatley, the young man from Toaster, continuing on his way. So he's obviously home race circuit is Silverstone, no doubt. Ayrton Rai, Dylan Suresh and Archie Ray Watson. And I'll tell you what, they are starting to check out from the rest of the field. Now that Harper's got into P4, that little move has broken the flow for the top three, and Archie Ray Watson is starting to edge them out. Rebecca Restel, meanwhile, the young lady from Sutton Coldfield, trying to work her way into the top 6, and going with her is likely to be Thomas Stevens, the young lad from Abingdon, which is just outside Oxford. So it could be an interesting run for the competitors there. Ayrton Rai, Dylan Suresh and Archie Ray Watson. Watch how intense this is going to be from Suresh. if he gets even the whiff of a gap on Ayrton Rai, and Ayrton is not going to know what hit him.
Yeah, there's two groups of three here in the Honda R200s. Here come the Tyrone Minis. There's another three there battling for the lead in that one. Back with the Honda R200 class into Wilkins.
I tell you what, that's a mistranslation of Noah's Ark, isn't it? Because they're currently going 3x3 hurrah, aren't they? Ayrton Rai, Dylan Suresh and Archie Ray Watson out in the front end. Now, Thomas Harper is slowly breaking the toe of Ferencváry. He's falling into the clutches of Lewis Dean and Matthew Plant, and Harper's just banged in a 49.61. That's fractionally quicker than the race leader.
Yeah, so Harper's quick, man from Derby. Got family in Derby, lived there for a number of years. But, here they come, back down the return straight into the Bruno chicane. Battles all the way through the field, Jake.
And yes, there is indeed. As we look at the Tyrone Mini leaders, I was going to say that Suresh is looking menacing behind Rai, but it's also Issy Wykes looking threatening behind Hayden Adams. This is going to be interesting. Max Flatley's doing exactly the right thing, by the way, just keeping it nice and tidy in that third position spot, and just letting the two guys up front do all the hard work. We were just looking there at Griggs versus Sharp. That's Jack Griggs and Samuel Sharp having a nice little tussle between them. Dylan Suresh now picks up the fastest lap of the race at 49.3 as he gets right onto the tail of Ayrton Rai. Look at this Tyrone Mini battle, though. Wykes is looking for a chance here, and round the outside of all of them, Max Flatley was having a go.
Honda R200 class again on screen as we go up to the hairpin. One more time. The man in the black and yellow suit, by the way, in Tyrone Mini, Max Flatley. I think Max is the championship leader, so I'm not expecting him to be happy sitting in third for the whole race. We'll have to see how that develops.
Ferencváry trying to shake off Lewis Dean whilst also going back after the attentions of Thomas Harper, who has just dropped them. And in 7th place, that is Matthew Plant, hoping for an opportunity to try and go for an overtaking move. There's the 7th, Ferencváry, just working to pull clear of Lewis Dean. Over the line comes the leaders. It's almost a leading quartet. Never mind a leading trio, because Thomas Harper is eating up the road in front of him. He still believes that a victory is on. And with 7 minutes 40 on the clock, that's looking pretty doable at the moment. Here comes the battle in Tyrone Mini again. Issy Wykes and Max Flatley just waiting for the mistake from Hayden Adams. If it doesn't come, then they're going to have to get their elbows out. Could be interesting later on.
Here they come, here they are. This is the Tyrone Mini battle for the lead. You can see Flatley easy to pick out there in the yellow and black suit. They go through Stratford hairpin one more time. Issy Wykes coming alongside, looking for the lead.
I think that's going to work. Going to go side by side. Somebody's going to have to bail out of it.
Yeah, she was on the outside there. She goes in on the inside, but then here we got Flatley around the outside. I think he's going to keep his foot in here, but I think he's going to have to give best through Hanger Bend.
Oh,
and he does.
It had to be, really, otherwise there would have been contact, but somehow Flatley's still able to keep it round the outside. Issy Wykes has got to shut that door because Flatley's made it. Two terrific races for the price of one here. The R200s, Rai, Suresh and Archie Ray Watson. And now we've got Hayden Adams, Max Flatley into 2nd place past Issy Wykes. Not far away, Jack Griggs and Samuel Sharp could have something to say about it. Back to the Honda R200s. This is how close it is. Give it time, and Thomas Harper, who is racing in the vintage Jaguar Le Mans racing colours on that kart. It looks pretty awesome on a kart, to be fair. I've never seen it before on an R200, but it really does look the biz. Clearly there's some British racing heritage, shall we say, in that particular family. They're a big fan base, big lovers of racing, and the vintage Jaguar Le Mans colours do look pretty cool on an R200, I have to say. Right, Suresh and Watson. Here comes Thomas Harper. Through he goes. A little bit of a gap now between them and Ferencváry, Lewis Dean, Plant, Rebecca Restall and Thomas Stevens. And then in the Tyrone Minis, it's all going very well indeed. Well, Flatley's got into the lead by the look of it. So Flatley's got ahead just out of the view of the cameras. We'll pick that up in a moment because this battle for 5th is definitely accelerating apace. Havasi, Dean, Plant, and then Rebecca Restall a little bit further back. So there's the confirmation you saw on the screen. Max Flatley has now gone into the lead in Tyrone Mini, but it will not be easy to hold on to. Speaking of which, Dylan Suresh is giving Ayrton Rai plenty of reasons to sweat right now.
Yeah, we're doing a great job here, cameraman, of keeping an eye on both races going on. There's two classes going on at the same time. Very difficult in sprint racing to cover it all, but we're doing as good a job, I think, as you could possibly do today.
Certainly are. Now, fortunately, traffic is not becoming that big a problem as well, because the lap time difference is not that significant. You've got 49 3s, 4s and 5s in the Honda R200s, and in the Tyro Minis, it's low 51s, 52s. Now, okay, that's 2 seconds of that difference, but on a 49-second lap, you should just about get away with that without having to worry too much about traffic, but it is something that could come into play, so the drivers need to be mindful. Here's the Tyro Mini class battle for the victory. Flatley, as you can see there, in the yellow and black race suit with the white helmet, has now got into the lead of the race. I have to point that out because in Tyro Mini, the cars look almost identical to each other. Very similar in colour scheme, of course. Hayden Adams and Issy Wykes really starting to challenge Flatley. How about that? You've got the leading battle in Tyro Mini on the back straight as the R200 battle was coming through Cafe. So you had two battles on screen at the same time. Up the inside comes Issy Wykes. Oh, a nose got properly chopped across there by Hayden Adams. He was not prepared to give best, and that's going to be a problem for Issy Wykes because here comes Jack Griggs.
Yeah, so the three-way battle in both classes is now three-way in Honda R200 still, but now a two-way. We've got 2x2 here in Tyro Mini. You can see again Max Flatley, simple to pick out, isn't he, in the yellow and black suit, even from the drone.
It certainly takes the pressure off Hayden Adams for a moment because now he can be the one relentlessly chopping away at Max Flatley. But look at this, Jack Griggs is being the MVP here because he is going with Issy Wykes, and all of a sudden that huge deficit is becoming smaller and smaller. Jack Griggs definitely the MVP at the moment because now that's becoming a four-kart battle for the Tyro Mini victory. Back to the R200s. There is a little bit of daylight between Ryan Suresh and then another bit of daylight between Suresh and Watson, and they're going to get their first bit of traffic. Evan Withington has got to keep his wits about him because there's going to be a lot of firepower coming up the road.
Yeah, so Max Flatley, the championship leader, ahead now in the Tyro Mini class, looking to stretch his legs. Ayrton Ryan set the fastest lap, by the way, on the last lap. Jack Griggs now getting spicy. The man from Dunstable in Bedfordshire, the greatest town in the history of towns in the UK. I came from there, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I tell you what, as I said before, Griggs was turning into the MVP, and he's absolutely banked on that rep. Look at him, fourth place, and it's now a four-kart battle. That's Griggs deciding, do you know what, I'm not going to race with Issy Wykes, I'm going to push her forward, and we're suddenly going to, all of us, be in this fight for the victory. That takes maturity, that takes a disciplined character to think about the long game, and so Griggs has got himself and Issy Wykes back into the fight for victory in Tyro Mini. And by being that smart, by being that mature, Griggs has now got just as good a chance as the three drivers ahead of him to win this.
Yeah, interesting. Jack Griggs, again, man from Dunstable. In fact, he lives just around the corner from where my mother used to live, interestingly. Honda R200 class, battle for the leads. They go through Hanger Bend, and it looks like the leader, Ayrton Wright, starting to stretch his legs here. He's the man that set the fastest lap.
Dylan Suresh is under big pressure from Archie Ray Watson now, isn't he? That little bit of daylight has just taken the pressure off Rai, and so Suresh and Watson are going to have to scrabble away for second place. Thomas Harper is sliding around all over the
place.
Yeah, I mean, that, I tell you what, the back end of the kart trying to overtake the front, that's tyre degradation. That's when the tyres are really starting to look like ice cubes now.
I tell you what, I thought Flatley was going to clear off, but he's going to lose the lead here, is he? Trying to hold on to it.
Little bit of tyre rubbing as well. That's left rear connecting with right front, and that's going to be Hayden Adams just having a think about it. Issy Wykes is going to dive up the inside now. She's going to have a look for second place. Not going to happen as Hayden Adams comes back to the inside. It's getting properly busy in Tyro Mini. For Ayrton Rai, though, this is masterclass. He's pulled just enough of a gap over Dylan Suresh to be comfortable, but this is anybody's in Tyro Mini. Big dive at the inside from Hayden Adams now as he works his way forward. Rai, Suresh and Watson, they've well checked out from Thomas Harper. Harper will just be happy to finish in P4 the way things are currently looking in terms of his tyre management, but Lewis Dean has got the run on Felin Cavesi further back for 5th position, so Lewis Dean is going to want to be top 5. But it's Flatley, Adams, Wykes and Griggs, so we're going to be racing for the Tyro Mini victory. Dylan, you're going to have some pressure. Here comes Archie Ray to the Bruno Ferrari chicane. And look at the Tyro Mini class battle. Flatley, Wykes, Griggs and Adams. Jack's got his way to 3rd behind Issy Wykes. He just takes his time, then he gets an opportunity. But we've only got 35 seconds on the clock. So by the time these guys come through, we're going to have 2 laps remaining.
On the Tyro Mini class then, the director and the cameraman doing a pretty good job of trying to keep on top of who's doing what in each of the classes. This is the Tyro Mini class, so Flatley has allowed himself to get a little bit of a gap, but it was nose to tail, wasn't it? It's not quite that now. We're back with the Honda R200 class, and here we go. Battle for fifth, change for fifth. Lewis Dean into fifth through Cafe Corner.
Fantastic stuff, dueling away with Fenicavesi, and it looks like Dean has managed to pick up that fifth place once again, and Matthew Plant is right in the mix of that as well, so Plant could actually go for something. Right, 2 laps to go for the Tyro Minis. Flatley, Wykes, Griggs, and Hayden Adams actually struggling to stay with them at the moment, and again, Griggs can just play the smart move here behind Issy Wykes, and he can almost edge Wykes to go for the move on Flatley. If they tumble, Griggs could steal it away. Last lap begins then in R200, and Ayrton Rai is looking fairly comfortable. What can Archie Ray Watson do on the final lap to topple Dylan Suresh?
Not sure, to be honest. It's going to be close, but I'm sort of thinking this is the way it's going to finish. You get them coming up to Stratford Hairpin for the last time.
Here's the Tyro Minis. Now, they've got a lap and a half to go. They haven't quite got to the end of the lap yet, so this is going to be an interesting one. Issy Wykes having to think about it, but Flatley has positioned the kart exactly where he needs to. Jack Griggs starting to get aggressive. That's the first time I've really seen him be authoritarian behind the wheel, across the line. They've got one lap to go. He's going to dive on the inside. Griggs will go for it on Wykes. Wykes has got a hold of nerve. Almost takes the lead away from Flatley. Out in front, though, in the R200s, it's going to be Ayrton Rai, just like his namesake Ayrton Senna has done at Shenington in the past. He hangs on for the victory in front of Dylan Suresh and Archie Ray Watson, with Harper in 4th position. Not a bad run for him. And it's going to be Fenicavesi in front of Lewis Dean and Matthew Plant. Oh, it's going to be close between them as they come through. In fact, it's actually going to be Avesi from Dean and Plant by only a couple of tenths of a second. Meanwhile, here comes the Tyro Mini battle. And is that Griggs? He's well clear, look. Griggs has got himself at a second, well clear of Issy Wykes. Is he going to get one final slingshot? He's going to have to come up with something very special if he's faster out of the final turn. Don't tell me he's going to steal it on the line. Griggs is going to try. So close. Oh, my goodness. What a fight back. It's Max Flatley that gets the victory, and deservedly so, but only just. Ayrton Rai in front of Dylan Suresh and Archie Ray Watson. Thomas Harper smooth and steady in P4. Fenicavesi wins the triumvirate battle for P5. In the Tyro Minis, Max Flatley just pips Jack Griggs across the line. Hayden Adams and Issy Wykes were close in 3rd and 4th. Sam Sharp not far away. In Honda Cadet 200 points, Thomas Harper leads the way. Lewis Dean and Rebecca Ressler are giving chase, with Ayrton Rai and Dylan Suresh now coming to the top 5. In Tyro Mini, it's still Max Flatley all the way, with the absent Jacob Aston now only 4 ahead of Hayden Adams. The Shenington Showdown is Tyro Junior, the final race of the weekend. Oliver Gibson and Maddox Chan, Sam Aston and Archie Gale. From Harvey Williams, Ryan Sayers, George Townsend, Jacob Aston and Dan Parsons. Let's go to battle as we head onto the main straight in the tram lines. Let's race at Shenington one last time. And as the drivers work their way through to Cafe Corner, it's already pretty fluid as George Townsend leads the way in the championship fight, but has certainly had to work his way through from the tail end. So this is going to be an interesting one. Sliding wide on the run down to the first couple of corners. It is Gibson initially. You've not got many drivers in this race battle to play these games, guys. It got pretty frenetic there, but it is now Harvey Williams who has worked his way through from 5th on the grid initially, but the Litchfield lad is now P2, and that's why there's a tiny bit of daylight between Williams in 2nd place and Gibson in the lead. Sam Aston is still there or thereabouts, but there's the move on the inside from Maddox Chan to get back into P2 on Harvey Williams, and all this squabbling is just giving Oliver Gibson license to run out in the lead.
Yeah, Gibson well happy with this. He's not looking over his shoulder, but if he was, he'd be well happy with what he sees behind. Started P7, now P6 for George Townsend. So I think Townsend was a championship leader coming into the round. I might be wrong there, but he's well out of position today. I expected him to be challenging for pole position. Frankly, that's a great battle going on there.
Yeah, this for 3rd position. This is a Formula 1 battle, effectively. It's Williams versus Aston, because you've got Harvey Williams and Samuel Aston having a terrific run as they go through the Bruno Ferrari chicane, then they go through Hanger on the run to Wilkins. Is there going to be a move for 2nd? I thought for a moment that Harvey Williams was going to have, that Samuel Aston, I should say, was going to have his eyes wider than his stomach there, but he thought better of it. He runs ahead of Archie Gale, then George Townsend in P6, Brian Sayers and Jacob Aston in P8. But Oliver Gibson has got almost the length of the entire field as a distance between himself and Maddox Chan. A 2nd clear already, but there's a lot to go. Here comes Aston on the inside of Williams. That'll do nicely. So Sam Aston is now P3 out of a brilliant move out of the Stratford hairpin.
Yeah, the fastest man on track, of course, is the race leader, Oliver Gibson. He's put fastest lap in after fastest lap, and you can see the lead is quite comfortable at the moment, but Maddox Chan doing his best to close him down. This is the battle for third place.
This is the kind of class as well where you need the momentum of the drivers around you to really maximise the pure aerodynamic pace of these karts. Don't forget that when you cut through the air in karts, there is obviously some good aerodynamic bodywork to help you, but you're still cutting through the air with a block, a solid block, and as a result of that, you've got to try, this is why you see the drivers ducking in behind the helmet, you've got to try and maximise those Nassau panels. They're using this very new design of Nassau, which has the air hole in the middle of it to cut through, and drivers have actually told me on the continent that those Nassaus can actually give you anywhere between 8 and 900ths of a second more downforce per lap. So that really does, it's almost a 10th of a second quicker. So that is quite a big thing, isn't it?
This is the battle for second and third we were looking at there. The man in third set the fastest lap on the last lap. That now goes to Oliver Gibson,
well,
very temporarily, because Archie Gale in fifth place now is the fastest man on the track. So all of these guys quick.
By 7,000ths of a second as well. It's not as if this isn't close. As up the inside, that's going to be a move for P4. Gale gets the move there on Williams, so that puts him into P4.
As Williams there runs wide, coming out of Stratford hairpin onto the straight.
Tyro Jr. yet again proving to be one of these epic classes in British karting where if you don't have quantity, you still have plenty of quality. Samuel Aston all over the back of Maddox Chan, and this is what he needs to do now. There's that huge gap, that huge deficit to Gibson. Do not overtake Maddox, Sam. Just sit behind him, push him. Push him. He's got fast pace. He's just banged in the fastest lap. So this is how you're going to win this race. You've got 8 minutes on the clock. You've got plenty of time to get a 1.4 second deficit. Well, he's not going to work with Maddox Chan. I thought he might do the dirty on him there into the hairpin and get the move. But actually, if you play the long game here, Sam, work with Maddox Chan. He's a shorter driver in terms of height as well. So if he just tucks in behind Maddox Chan, not only will he give his engine a little bit of a breather, but he can work with him, and the two of them can essentially work together to get that gap down, and that's exactly what he's doing as they head into Wilkins.
Yeah, these karts, by the way, are pretty much all junior Rotax karts, I think. I don't think the Tyro Junior means you can run pretty much any junior type of kart, two-stroke generally. But I think these are all junior Rotaxes, looking at them and listening to the engines. Great battle here for second place, Jake.
Yep, the gap is still 1.4, but it might be too much for Sam Aston to cope with. He has another think about Maddox Chan, doesn't actually get the move, but the more you sit behind the kart that you think is too slow to work with you, the more time that you're going to subconsciously think you're going to lose, and that creates urgency, that creates a sense of desperation. We now just got under 7 minutes. Does the overtaking move come? Well, certainly the bump draft comes going into Wilkins. That's just the hurry up. From Maddox Chan's point of view, he'll be thinking, right, so he's right on me. I've got to keep this pace up. And what do they do in terms of lap times? It's almost identical to Gibson, but it can't afford to be identical because that gap is already a second and a half. It needs to be quicker, and significantly so.
Yeah, Gibson, Williams and Ryan Sayers all set their fastest laps on that last lap.
Oh, there was a nudging there from Aston as he makes the bid on Maddox Chan. That's what you don't want. Yes, he gets through into second place, but the time deficit lost to Gibson in the change of momentum, that could cost him any chance to catch him in the end.
Fantastic racing going on though, Jake, in what is a relatively small field. I think the smallest field we've seen all weekend, but great race going on. You don't often, sometimes you just don't need a lot of drivers in a race to make it a great race, and this is a great race, especially for second, third and fourth there. The others not out of it either.
Yep, said it before, said it again. Quality over quantity on this particular occasion in Tyro Junior. Aston, Chan, and here comes Archie Gale. Gale setting his personal best lap. Will he slingshot it to the inside of Stratford? Well, he's not going to take too big a risk this point in the race. He's still got a little bit more to do, but he can work with Maddox Chan. I mean, to be fair, the saving grace could actually be Archie Gale. because he can see the daylight between Gibson and Aston. He can see the long game here. He thinks, I don't want to be fighting for third. I don't want to be fighting for second. I want to win this. He can actually be the man to take the responsibility. Big dive from Chan. That's from a long way back. And that's going to cost them even more time to Oliver Gibson. This is why they need to settle their differences. Oh, hand in the air from the 21 Sam Aston. Now, from time to time when you see a hand in the air that deliberate, that almost looks as if he's got a mechanical problem, but he's clearly not, because he's still going strong. So I'm not entirely sure what that hand gesture was for from Sam Aston.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but Oliver Gibson is out front, and as you say, Jake, with these three now, they're battling for second. They know they're battling for second, and Gibson now just getting away, and he's already set another fastest lap.
Is Sam Aston auditioning for the new Lord of the Rings movie? Was that his Gandalf? You shall not pass. It was a little bit edgy there on the way through. Here comes Archie Gale, trying to tighten in again on Maddox Chan. Chan still holds third position for the time being. Archie Gale getting frustrated, sat behind him. And yeah, look at the daylight now between Gibson and Aston. In fact, Gibson's just banged in a 44.3 by comparison to these guys on 44.6s. That's a massive difference in time. And that's just the confidence that Gibson's been able to continue on with. Archie Gale tries again on Maddox Chan. Chan goes quite deep into the hairpin. That's a big gamble because he's going to be slower on the exit. This is where Gale can really start to hammer it home into the Bruno Ferrari chicane. But again, Chan just goes a little bit deeper in the brakes. He just keeps the raw pace of the kart going a little bit further in. He doesn't seem to be braking in these corners as late as Archie Gale is. Look, again, he just builds that little bit of extension of the gap going in, but coming out, he gets closer again. So it's a difficult one. It's a tough tactic for Maddox Chan.
Lap after lap after lap for Oliver Gibson. 3 consecutive laps. He has set the fastest lap now.
And 3 laps consecutively of 44.3 as well. Pretty much metronomic pace.
Yeah,
I tell you what, a Le Mans team like your Toyotas, your Porsches, your Aston Martins are going to be looking at that going, that's a very trusty young racing driver. You can get metronomic pace 3 laps in a row at 44.3. That's a big advert for a future talent right there.
Archie Gale in this, what looks like sort of bright orange helmet. He's easy to spot, isn't he, whenever we see him? And even from the drone, simple to spot from above.
Harvey Williams in P5, just trying to stay with him, and there's Ryan Sayers as well. This has been a very tough race weekend for George Townsend, hasn't it? He's not been able to make the progress he would have liked to from 7th position still currently. Archie Gale again. Watch again. See, that's exactly, there is the perfect example. Maddox Chan just so much later on the brakes than Archie Gale. It keeps the position initially, but as they roll off the hairpin, Gale is able to get on the throttle fractionally quicker than Maddox Chan. So it's a risky game that Chan is playing here. It certainly keeps him ahead in the initial part of the apex, but on the exit, he's vulnerable. Watch again in Wilkins. Oh, well, Gale decides, I'm not going to follow this tactic anymore. I'm going for it.
That's a great move, by the way. No problem with that. There was very minuscule contact, but I'm okay with that, frankly.
Chan's coming back at him, but Gale has got it finished. Chan comes again. Oh, no! Too aggressive. Too much from Maddox Chan. And unfortunately, Archie Gale and Maddox Chan end up tumbling down. Let's look at it again. See, Maddox Chan was trying to get vengeance for the original move. Dives, it's brave. Bang! 2 rear wheels will come together and up and over they go.
Well, you look at them there, they were side by side. Should Archie Gale, so kart 21 in second, is under investigation for gaining advantage by contact.
Yeah, that's Samuel Gale. Sorry, Samuel Aston, I should say.
We've not seen anything to do with Sam Aston. Must have been earlier in the race, Jake, but he's under investigation for gaining a place by contact. I'm not sure when that happened. There's certainly contact there with involving Archie Gale, wasn't there? I don't think Gale did necessarily anything wrong. That may go down as a racing incident.
Well, Archie Gale was just taking his normal racing line and suddenly found Maddox Chan to his right, not really expecting him to be there. That is the move from Ryan Sayers as they go wheel to wheel, Sayers and Williams. This is the new battle for third position as a result of the disappearance from the fray of Gale and Chan. They are still going, by the way, those two. Archie Gale is resumed in P5, Chan in P7.
This is the battle for third at the moment, Jake.
Yes.
But if a penalty comes for Sam Aston,
that's a good point.
That could be what, a 5-second penalty? That could potentially, they are...
Yeah, P2.
Yeah, they could be battling here for P2, not P3.
And
they won't know that as the marshal takes his life in his hands going through Cafe Corner in front of the tyres with the carts all coming.
Yeah, to be fair, you've got to be pretty brave to do that, but they are the best qualified marshals on the planet, the British Motorsport Marshals, the Orange Army, as we call them. Can't race without them. Well, Harvey Williams is going ultra defensive now. We know that we're on the penultimate lap with 20 seconds on the clock. I mean, they might just about come through with a lap or so. There it is, a 5-second penalty for contact. We didn't see what it was, but Samuel Aston has got a 5-second penalty for contact. And now at the inside, Ryan Sayers threads the eye of the needle in Wilkins. That is such a tough overtake to pull off.
That was a great overtake. 2 laps remaining as they go through. They just had enough time as they went through the line. The leader went through the line, so 2 laps remaining. And Sayers thinks he's in third. At the moment, he's just about in second.
I tell you what, I've seen drivers try that move with that amount of space so many times over the last decade, and they've all ended in tears. Fair play to Sayers for pulling it off. They're going to go side by side in the Bruniverde chicane. Sayers trying to hang on from Harvey Williams. He's gone deep. Williams is going to get better purchase off the turn. Will he have the space to go alongside into Hanger? No, he tucks back in, but now he's going to try into Wilkins. Sayers is keeping it on the curb. No way through. Watch out, boys. Here comes Archie Gale. He wants a podium. Last lap begins.
Gale, who was involved in that incident, is now back in the mix for what would be potentially second if he overtakes these two, third if he overtakes the man in front of him.
Well, this is now turning into the Broadway production of Days of Thunder on Ice, because the back end of these karts is sliding around all over the place.
Yeah, Sayers has got a 4-wheel drift going on, certainly coming into the chicane last time.
Let's see if Williams has got what it takes. He draws level with Williams. In comes Gale. Gale's going to try and split them. It's not going to happen. Sayers is still there in third, Williams in fourth, but here comes Oliver Gibson unchallenged to the flag. The victory comes his way, and it's a dominant victory. There is Sam Aston, but he's got the 5-second penalty. So who's going to get second? It will be Ryan Sayers, who manages it from Harvey Williams and Archie Gale. That's going to drop Sam Aston to P5.
Yeah, Sayers, 5-second penalty. Is going to drop Sayers back. There you go, 5-second penalty for gaining unfair advantage by contact. We never saw where he got that, where the contact occurred, but it's cost him. Oliver Gibson takes the win from Ryan Sayers. Sam Aston there in third from Williams, Gale, Chan, Townsend. Really unusual to see Townsend down that far, Jake, and then Jacob Aston. Daniel Parsons, of course, did not start.
Yeah, it's a tricky day at the office for George Townsend. What does that do in terms of the points, of course? It changes things a bit. Oliver Gibson is still there, but now overtaking George Townsend. Maddox Chan in third, ahead of Archie Gale and Sayers, who are tied for P5, ahead of Sam Aston, with plenty of great racing still to come from this class in 2024.
That's all from Shenington, but join us in a month's time when we'll be bringing you more race action from the fantastic circuit at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire, where drama is guaranteed. We'll see you then.